Good morning, guys. What is going on? Good morning, G-Man. This is that position that I posted in the group. Playing out. I actually added to the position a little bit. So when it came back and retested that London high, I added two more. And then I took out 3 contracts at anchored VWAP from yesterday. Have another target at Asia high, value area high. And then, where's the other one? I have a runner going. But this account, I'll lock it out at 900, so it probably won't go all the way up there. Twiddling your thumbs, watching me trade. Do you have a practice account or like a paper trading account you can set up? Sometimes that's fun, just to keep you busy. Good morning, Paul. How's it going? Coming up to Asia high now. Let's see if it grabs that. Almost there. Come on. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's working out for sure. It was super choppy for the last couple of hours, so it was definitely something that could have gone either direction, but the risk to reward on it was really good. So the reason I took it is it had this bounce off of value area low earlier this morning at midnight pretty much. And it's been holding that. So yesterday's value area low, and then this whole gray shaded region that I have. I know it kind of looks a little bit messy right now. But this whole gray shaded region was a pretty good high volume node on the larger time frame. So pretty good support. So that was kind of making me lean towards longs, the fact that it bounced off of that level. So I was looking for longs. And then with that in mind, this chop consolidation right here, it created this point of control from the Asia session. And then a lot of times, like if you're trading VWAP, the first break is a lot of times a fake out. So when it broke above VWAP and then pulled below and then was kind of chopping around it, that was another reason that I was thinking that the next time it broke, it would actually be the real move. So all of those reasons I entered long. Again, just because of the risk to reward. I was able to put my stop loss here, below these wicks, below point of control. So not too much of a stop loss. You can see it was 13 points. So that was why I went long. And I've scaled out of the position. I have another target set here at Asia high. It didn't quite grab it. So hopefully it doesn't reject all the way down from here now. Good morning, Nick. Good to have you. No noise of music. Yeah. So a couple reasons for not having music. One is I haven't figured out how to not have my videos get blocked for copyright, even when I stream like copyright free music. Every time I do it, it blocks my videos, which is annoying. But also, I feel like if people are listening to trading in the morning, they might be listening to their own music too. So if they have me talking and my music and their music, that's just way too much going on. So I'd rather have it just be quiet. You can just listen to my soothing voice instead. And that way you can listen to your own music too. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad it works for you, Nick. Kunal FX, good morning. Orange Fan, good morning. All right. So it did come up to that Asia high, not quite to my target, which is annoying. Just barely missed it. Let's see if it gets a little bit of a retracement for the bigger move up. I have a target to scale out at Asia high, and then really the full move goal would be value area high. My voice is much better than most channels' music. Someone on the live stream yesterday said that too. It was nice to have a soothing voice. Maybe I need to start selling like meditation streams. Oh my gosh, you guys. My scaled out target was like $1 away. Not even that, 0.75. At this point, I guess I can't be upset. I've already scaled out a little bit. I TP'd part of it, and then my stop loss is in profit. So I'll take what I can get. All right, so looking at the charts, kind of see what we got going on today. Let's zoom out to the higher time frame and take off all these lines and stuff. So if you guys were watching me, a couple weeks ago when we got really bullish and just like kept running up, I was saying that it looks like we're just hanging off the edge of a cliff. It looks like we're doing that again. What was it? Tuesday when it just like ran up. Yeah, it was CPI. All up on Tuesday with no retracement. So this right here, like where my line is, I feel like it's just dangling off the edge of a mountain and it's about to come down. So I don't know if it'll be today, tomorrow, what. But this shelf right here at 23,767, this area would be a nice spot to pull back to. So again, I don't know if it's going to be today, tomorrow, what. But I'd be watching for that, some sort of downside. So if it's going to happen today, for me, it would need to stay below this level here at around like 23,970-ish. If it stays below this resistance at 23,970, It could like wick above, but if it comes back below, then I'd be looking for more downside today, down to this level near 23,770-ish. So, but if it breaks above that and reclaims it and holds this level, then we could be seeing more upside. So a lot of it depends on PPI and how things go with that, because that could totally just change things. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. This level here at 23,970-ish, you guys can see it pretty clearly on this chart right here. Pretty good resistance. Also this high volume node. So if it starts holding above this level and this is new support, it's going higher. That's my thought. If it holds below this level, then this is the next support down here at this volume node. Yeah, it's hard. So G-Man, I feel like looking at the higher time frame, like where it should go. I don't even want to use that word because price can do whatever the heck it wants. None of that matters when you have a big news release like PPI or CPI or something like that. It's going to do whatever the heck it wants to do. But once the news candle settles, like that could all just be fake news, you know, or like propping the market up for an hour or whatever. Once that settles, if those levels are still in play, we could be looking at this level right here, 23,970-ish. So if PPI is super bullish and we like go to all-time highs, that might be a good spot to retrace to, is 23,970. Or if PPI is super bearish and we just drop down to this 770 level, that could be a chance to possibly take a long for a retracement of that news candle. Just kind of coming up with a game plan, some thoughts. So looking at that higher time frame, that 770 that I was talking about, if I put my levels back on, that was actually yesterday's value area high. So that's interesting that it lines up. Because really, if that was yesterday's premium pricing, and then like today's price gets above that and we start to find support there, then today's value is technically going to be higher than yesterday and we'll be going up. We'll be looking for longs. That's my thought. All right. So while I was talking, we had that little pullback and now it's coming back up. Is it going to grab my orders? Is it actually going to do it? Come on. Yes, Nick believes. Nick believes it's going to happen. Put it out into the universe. Think happy thoughts. It's thinking about it. It's trying. So Nick, since we have time before PPI is released, I don't want to take any other trades, get into any new positions until after that. You were asking in the chat in our Discord about volume profile. Did that kind of make sense to you, how I zoomed out on the higher time frame? and looked at, so this indicator that I was looking at is the visible range volume profile, this over here. So that's how I find my support and resistance levels. That way you don't have to rely on your eyeballs to find support and resistance. It's helpful for me a lot. You can see it very obviously here. Like this is where there's no support here. My plus sign gets in the way when I put the cursor there, but this low volume node on this volume profile right there, there's pretty much no resistance there. And you can see it on price action right here because it just went straight up. There was no like zigzaggy trading. But the next shelf on the high volume nodes is right about here. I like 23,800, 23,770, kind of in that region would be where I would expect we would possibly get a bounce if it started to move down. So that's how I use the volume profile on the higher time frames. And then there's another one forming here. So that's where if it breaks below this level at like 920-ish, that could be new resistance and we could move lower. Or if it holds above this level, that could be new support and it's moving up. So it's a really easy way to find support and resistance. And then if you look at the session volume profile, so this is from the New York trading hours. It'll give it a chance to populate. I just turned it on. Oh, that's not gonna work. That's annoying. But yeah, that's how I find the value area high, value area low, and point of control is by using the session volume profile. There we go. So this indicator shows the volume profile from each New York session. And I keep the indicator turned off just because I don't want all this stuff on the chart. But I'll draw those lines, which is how I got these. Like that's point of control, value area high, value area low. It's been helpful for me, so I don't have to rely on my eyeballs to see support and resistance. It's there on the charts, like data shows me this is where the trading happened, this is where a lot of volume happened, so that's going to be either support or resistance if we're above or below it. Kind of takes my like opinion and discretion out of it. Yep. Yeah, what you said is correct. Like if it sticks out, that's a high volume node, so there's more trading there, that would be support and resistance. If it's a low volume node, it's usually just gonna either wick in and out or move straight through it. That's an area where price can move much quicker if it's a low volume node. So if you want to add it to your chart, both of those, visible range volume profile, VRVP, is the one that I have on the right side over here. And that changes based on the price, like how zoomed in and out I am. So you can see if I zoom in, this volume profile changes. There, it just changed. The session volume profile is fixed to just the New York trading hours. And that is going to be up here on your indicators. So just do a search for visible range volume profile right there and add it. And then same thing for session volume profile right there. They're on TradingView if you have TradingView. I do have videos on all of that actually. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's a playlist for Futures 101. And I'm starting to add all my strategy videos to there. So I have videos on how I mark the levels on my chart, how I use volume profile, the 15-minute opening range, the initial balance, all the strategies that I trade with, they're on there. So visible range volume profile is on the right side. The session volume profile is going to be on the left side, just basically where the New York session is. So if I turn those on, it covers the distance of the New York trading hours. So for me, I'm in Central time zone, so it's from 8:30 to 3 p.m. That's what my settings are. And if you're marking your lines like I do, definitely move to the 1 minute chart. Because of the way the indicator calculates it, it's a little bit more accurate. If you move to like the 15-minute chart or the 30-minute chart, point of control is going to be in a different spot than it is on the 1 minute. So from what I've heard and what I've researched, it's best to do it on the 1 minute chart if you're marking your lines. And then the session volume profile settings, I don't think I changed much. I just, like I said, I'm Central time zone, so this is Central time. Adjust it to your time zone. If you're doing Eastern, it would be 9:30 to 1600. And then value area volume 70, that's the standard, that's what most people use. I don't extend the lines right, because then there would be a whole bunch of lines on there. And then the only thing I really changed is the colors. I think sometimes I change this to 20 just because it makes it so it's smaller and I don't have to see as much. I took off the value area high and value area low lines and just left the point of control, and then I changed the colors. I think the standard is like pink and blue or something like that. Oh, one other thing I did change is, where is it? Oh, maybe I didn't. It's not on here. Yeah, that's pretty much all I changed, was making sure that the hours were in my time zone and then the colors. But other than that, it's standard. Alrighty. I'll turn off the visible range volume profile just because it gets a little bit messy with everything going on. So I'm all about volume profile. I have it everywhere. But this one right here is the fixed range volume profile. And I do that manually with the Asia session. So if you come over to the forecast and measurement tools, fixed range volume profile, and I drag it from the session open at 6 p.m. Eastern all the way across, so I can see how volume has been trading overnight. So like this white line right here is the overnight point of control, which is actually pretty much in line with yesterday's New York session point of control. So it's been pretty balanced, which you can tell because it's been kind of choppy in that same zone as yesterday's New York session. But that gives interesting confluences too. Yeah, you're welcome, Nick. Happy to help. Let me know if you have any other questions. All right, let me check my position. So it did grab those 4 orders. I'll move this target down a little bit. So 480 to me is kind of, if we're gonna have downside today, 480 would be like the top. It's kind of the top of that high volume node. You can see that resistance there, a little bit of chop there. So I'll take this position off there. And tightening it up a little bit since we have PPI coming out in about 5 minutes. Good afternoon to you, Marcus. Am I trading the PPI news? Heck yeah. So I'll definitely let the PPI news candle settle. I'm not going to like enter immediately. But a lot of times, if you're patient and wait for a good setup after news, you can take some really good trades just because there's so much volatility and it'll move to your target pretty quick. But yeah, yesterday or Tuesday, I actually took a short after the CPI news finally settled. So it started to slow down after that huge pump and then started to reverse a little bit. And once it started to close back below the previous day high, I took a short and it retraced a lot of the move. So yeah, if you're patient with news candles, a lot of times you can take a good trade off of them. Yeah, I don't know, Marcus. I was kind of looking at the higher time frame. I feel like this area here around 970-ish has been pretty big resistance. So that to me is kind of the line in the sand. Like if PPI is super bullish and we break above and then retest this 970 level, then we're going higher. That's what I see. But if we can't break and hold above that level, we could see more downside today. And it looks like, you can see it here, it looks like we're kind of hanging off the edge of a cliff. And this area down here could definitely use a little retest to establish a stronger foundation. But we could also just keep going to the moon too, because everything else is pumping. Bitcoin's at all-time highs, Ethereum is close. I know they're not directly correlated. I just feel like everything's going up right now. Gold is pumping. Definitely a fun time to be looking at your long-term portfolios, right? Mario started working out again. Woohoo! And you're learning how to trade as well. You're in the right spot, my friend. Fitness and health and trading. That's my life. And kids, of course. Kids and family. I shouldn't say those. Fitness and trading is my life, but two things that are important to me. Two things that I spend a lot of time doing. Being active, eating healthy, and either trading or reading about trading or watching trading videos. I spend a lot of time doing that stuff. Woo! There we go. Dang. Apparently the news was bad, huh? All right. Good thing my stop loss was in profit. Well, it'll be interesting to see if it comes down to that 770 level that I was saying would be a good spot to retest. So let's watch for that, you guys. That's my plan. Because a lot of times with a news candle like that, you'll get a retracement. Like the move is going to happen. Give it 5 minutes or whatever to settle. and then it's gonna retrace the opposite way. A lot of times. I mean, I'm not saying it always happens that way. But if it comes down to 770 and it starts to settle and kind of find a solid base, that could definitely be a good spot to take along, you guys. We'll see. Let's see how this thing plays out. Good morning, Mad Moxie. Let's turn that volume profile back on so guys can see kind of why I'm looking at that 770 level. There's a pretty good shelf right here. So if it comes back down here and kind of starts to chop around and slow, like the momentum of this dump is slowing, I'll consider a long. Mostly because the risk to reward would be good. If it chops and we have a good spot to put our stop loss and then we could possibly retrace all the way back up here, that would be sweet. Who's getting fired for those numbers? Nick, I'll probably be on at least until the open and then a little bit afterwards. So I'll be on for a while. Couple more hours. Still dumping. All right, I'm gonna put an anchored VWAP on that news candle. I like to do that just to kind of see if buyers are regaining control or if sellers are still in control. Just kind of watch it. Still continuing down. Look at that candle, you guys. Holy cow. This is going to be a red day. Crazy, crazy. This thing, there's no sign of it stopping. This is good practice for that FOMO muscle. Good chance to remind yourself that there's always other opportunities in the market. When you're kind of just sitting here thinking like, oh, I could have just jumped in at any moment, just market order in short and I'll be in the money. But that's not a very smart move because you never know when it's going to retrace. And that's not in my strategy book. I'll watch and see how it reacts at that 770 level. See if we can get in anything there. This is intense, you guys. I feel like this is an even bigger move than CPI was on Tuesday. Like, this has been a full 6 minutes of just straight down. Getting a little bit of a bounce here at this 800 level. Let's see if that was just a little fake bounce and it's going to continue lower. How big of a move has that been? Let me measure this thing. From the top of the news candle down to where we're at right now, 169 point move so far in 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Dang. That's pretty crazy, you guys. We might have ourselves a fun day ahead. So we're right at the top of this high volume node that I marked off. Kind of starting to find some support here. The bigger support is down here at 760, 770-ish. Looks like we're bouncing. So I have an anchored VWAP on the news candle. We're coming back up to it. If we're gonna start retracing, then we'll probably break up above that anchored VWAP. If we're gonna continue lower, then it could reject right here. So that's kind of what I'm watching. Still think it's gonna be a pretty bearish day though after that news. But there's a possibility for a long just to retrace some of this. Has anyone taken any trades off of this PPI news? Tell me what you got in the chat, you guys. What are you trading with this? Or just watching the crazy red candles? Definitely bouncing at this level. Paul jumped in, squeezed a little bit of money out of the move. Mad Moxie just watching. That's probably the smart thing to do right now. I could see us possibly being able to get a little scalp long if you want to go against the trend, just because a lot of times news candles retrace before continuing lower. But it would have to break above this anchored VWAP and kind of have some volume behind it. Possibly come back up to like point of control before rejecting. But that would be a big move back up. I don't know if it would go that far. It could even come to this value area low spot around 900. That's also in line with the Asia session value area low as well. Yep, it definitely looks like it's wanting to bounce at that 800 level and retrace at least a little bit of it. I still don't think it's going to be a bullish day, so this would, in my opinion, just be a little scalp long before continuing lower at some point. It is starting to break back above this VWAP though. If it closes a candle above this VWAP, then I'm going to consider a long back up to value area low at about 900. Just planning on a little scalp to retrace the news. All right, you guys, I entered along 837.5 is my entry. I'm going to be super aggressive with trailing my stop loss though, because it's going way against the trend. So if I get stopped out for break even, I'm okay. Not going to let it retrace very far. Let's see how this next 5-minute candle closes. Kind of chopping around this VWAP here. Closing back below. There's not a whole lot of volume behind this move back up. That's the only issue with it. All right, it's coming back down. So close to my stop loss. What the heck? Good morning, Clarity. Yeah, Min, you're not wrong. This is typically how I do news candles though, is just trading the retracement. I just realized I never put my screen on the chart on sharing it with you guys. Sorry. So yeah, this is what I've always done with news trading, and I actually have a really good win rate with it. So overall, I'm thinking shorts today. Was just going to catch a little bit of a retracement move though. And I keep my risk really small too. I was only risking like $119. My stop loss was right below that 2-minute candle right there at 827, so it came really close. And then I moved my stop loss to break even as soon as I could. So I don't risk much on it. We'll see if it comes back to value area low. I'm not sure. There's quite a bit of confluence for that level though. It's kind of the value area low from the Asia session and yesterday. It's also the Asia low. So there's decent previous support there. So that could be a spot to retrace to. A more aggressive target really is coming back up to like 930-ish. But I don't want to be too greedy since I feel like overall it's going to go down today. A lot of times, whatever happens with the news release an hour before market open will continue into the New York Open as well. So if this doesn't retrace before the New York Open, I'll probably just close it out because I would think it's going to continue going down at that point. Or it could go down now and I could get stopped out, but that'd be okay. All right, cool. I'm okay with it. I always keep my stop losses pretty aggressive when completely trading against the trend with news. Let's see if it continues lower from here and hits that 770 level. It'll be interesting to see how the market opens. Anyone else taking any trades off of this PPI news? I know Mad Moxie said she was just watching. Paul took a little scout, made a little bit of money. Yeah, crazy dump. I took a little scalp attempt at a long. I got stopped out at break even. I wasn't risking much, but it bounced off of a decent support area and got back above that anchored VWAP. So I took a long. Didn't play out though. The momentum stopped. Looks like it's coming back down. It bounced right at 800, which is kind of the top of the high volume area that I have marked off. But a better spot, really, if we're going to find a bottom anytime soon, is 760, 770. I don't know, though. This doesn't seem like a great day to be looking for longs. So maybe at the New York Open, we can get some sort of pullback up here to like 930-ish or even 900 and maybe take a short off of there. But I don't know, just after that big old dump from PPI news, I don't see the New York Open opening bullish. So we might not get that kind of a pullback anytime soon. I'd be interested to see if it just dumps all the way through this level and then bounces up. We'll find out in about 30 minutes, I guess. Travis, you're still long, but at least you got your stop loss at break even. That's good. Yeah, that bounce that we were kind of getting has definitely slowed down on the 5-minute chart. Those candles are not looking strong. Kind of looks like it wants to come back down. Volume died off quick. We had 2-ish 5-minute candles that were decent, so 10 minutes of volume. And now everyone went back to drinking their coffee before the market opens. Gee, man, it's funny how much Bookmap can change based on news, right? Because before the news release, about 45 minutes ago, you were talking about how there was so many orders way up above. You were like, based on Bookmap, we're going up. Nope, not anymore. A lot of those orders honestly probably got taken off right before the news. Yep, it'll be interesting to see how the market opens for sure. It'll be interesting to see if this dump continues, how, like, unless my read on the volume is totally wrong, there's not a whole lot lower to go. Maybe 100 points down to like 720-ish. but we'll see a bottom at some point. I don't know if it'll just continue down all day. So far, still at about 169 point move down. Pretty crazy. That was a big drop. It's so weird though that I know you can call it news, you can call it price action. Like some people trade the news, some people trade levels. But when I hopped on an hour ago, that was what I was talking about, where this was just kind of hanging off the edge of a cliff and it looked like it wanted to come back down and establish a foundation down here. And it took news to get us there. Pretty crazy. Min, you have 698 marked as the bottom. Yeah. Somewhat close. My shaded area is a little bit higher than that. I have 718, 720-ish is the bottom of my range. But close. Hopefully at the New York Open we get some sort of pullback. I could see kind of the levels I was talking about earlier. 900-ish would be a decent spot, or a better pullback would be like 928-ish. If it gets back up to there, I could definitely see us taking a short. Don't want to chase it from here though. As soon as the market opens, you're going to lock up your XFA and funded top one futures. Love it. So one thing on Project X, if you're doing the lockout feature, by default, I just go to all day, lockout all day, and then obviously it'll open back up at market open in the evening. You can also do custom. I should probably start doing that. I know I've heard of a couple of trading coaches recommend doing the custom. That way you can lock yourself out of the Asia session too. But you can set it to open up like tomorrow morning, or you can set it to lock yourself out all the way until Monday morning, or whatever you want. So that's an idea. You could have done that last time when you locked yourself out. Yeah, you can lock out by session too. But like if you're trying to lock yourself out of Asia, instead of just going to lock out all day, because that'll open up at the Asia session, you can lock out by custom and set it to open up like tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. or whenever you want to let yourself trade. Okay, in the settings, you can lock out by session. Yeah, that's why Project X is my favorite to trade with, because of those features where you can like set up guardrails for yourself, not have to rely on your own discipline, which is, it's hard. I know it sounds silly that like you can't make yourself stop, but it's true. In the beginning, until you've created that discipline and like repetition for years, you have to set up training wheels for yourself. One nice thing about Project X too is, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus here, but you guys tell me in the chat if you've done this too, where you have your lockout settings, like I'm not gonna let myself lose more than $500 today or whatever, and you set that as your lockout, your daily loss limit. But Project X also has that red button at the bottom where you can lock your features so that you can't go back in and change it. Like if you get close to your daily loss limit and you're like, oh, just give me one more trade, I'm gonna change it to 600, and then that 600 turns to 700 or whatever. If you hit that lockout risk features button, it doesn't let you go back in and change your settings. So that's really helpful too. Well, G-Man, if you're not as dumb as me, where you go in and change your risk settings afterwards and turn your $400 loss day into a blown account, then maybe you don't need it. But I use that to protect myself sometimes. Okay, well, good for you. You haven't changed it. All right, Mavericks on my level. Yeah, it's helpful. I mean, it doesn't happen much, but it really sucks when you are working on an account, you know, you have a 20% consistency, you have 10 days to pay out, and you're like really close. You're working really hard and you're almost there. And then all of a sudden you just have one day where you get stupid and you blow the whole thing. So having those guardrails where you're like forced to lock yourself out and not be able to log back into your account anymore, it can save you from yourself. So you can walk away with a $400 loss or whatever your daily loss limit is, instead of blowing the account when you're just having a mental breakdown kind of day. You can come back fresh tomorrow. Tradify needs to hurry up and get Project X. I agree. I don't know what it is. There must be some sort of time issue with getting new prop firms on any sort of platform, I guess. Like, I don't think it's just Tradify dragging their feet about it. I think it's probably Project X taking a long time to get them set up. And I say that because I know, like, trying to get Ninja Trader, and they've been working on it for months. But it's not a delay with Top 1 Futures, it's a delay with Ninja Trader. So I think things like that just take time. Good morning, Saznet. Good luck with your trade and make it a green day. Let's go. Stay level-headed, Saznet. I know you've had a couple of tough trading days. Stay strong. Stay true to your plan. You got this. All right, well, after that initial dump, it's kind of just chopping around. I was thinking it was going to retrace a little bit of that move, but nope, it's stuck here. So while we're kind of watching this chop and maybe waiting for the open, if you guys haven't already, go hit that like button. I would appreciate it. We got about 25 of you watching. We got 7 likes. We can get a few more. And then I'm also putting our Discord in the chat. If you guys are not a part of that and you want to join us, we'd love to have you. It's a good chance to stay connected outside of the live streams and like share trades that we're taking, and we talk a lot about like the mental side of trading and different videos that we're watching and stuff like that. So good group of people in there. Are we actually going to get that pullback? That move that I wanted earlier, is it going to happen now? So here's one spot I'd be interested in possibly taking a short off of a retrace. If it came back up here, that would be even better. So we'll see how the New York opens. If we get like a random pump up and it starts to reject, that could be a good spot to take a short. That's always a good feeling, G-Man. When you don't have to worry about the New York Open, you don't have to worry about trading today. You're already green, already done. Welcome, Maria. Glad to have you. Yeah, I've hopped on Luna's streams a couple times now. I met him at boot camp in Tampa a couple months ago, and we've stayed in touch since then. You're putting the pressure on, Maria. You want to see how I trade? Uh-oh. Hopefully I have a green day then. We got about 15 minutes to the open. Doesn't look like much is going to happen until then. Travis, I know you got in along on this 5-minute hammer candle, and then you moved your stop loss to break even. Did you get stopped out, or are you still in it? All right, chat, what do you think at the open? Are we going to continue the dump at market open? It's just going to go down from here? Or do you think we'll get a little bit of a pullback to one of these levels before continuing lower? Or I guess neither of the above could be true if you think we're just going to pump to all-time highs. That might be the less likely option. But what do you guys think? Where are we headed? We'll find out in about 12 minutes. Oh, I haven't checked Discord, man. If your gap down short scenarios I posted in Discord is valid, we should have a decent pull off the open. Let me see what you posted. So you're thinking just straight down for... Yeah, Nick, you didn't miss much. I was kind of hoping for a news candle retracement, but didn't happen. And honestly, a lot of times it'll happen within, 5 to 10 minutes after the news release, if it's going to happen. The fact that it didn't, and it's looking weak, and it's 10 minutes from the open, to where a lot of times the news, like action, price action, whatever pump or dump we get from the news continues into the open. I'm leaning towards it just going down. A rate cut in September is off the table. I haven't been paying attention to what the actual PPI and CPI news means for all that. I don't pay attention a whole lot to what the actual news is. I just pay attention to when the events are, because I know there'll be like high volume, lots of volatility days to be careful of. But yeah, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the news. Some, but not a ton. Yeah, I could see that, Min. If we open strong, there'll be plenty of stop hunts going on and it could just shoot back up. Because there is a pullback so that we have an area to enter. If it just dumps straight down from here and goes all the way down to some of these levels that I see as support, it might be hard to trade. So a pullback to enter short would be nice. We have a couple people thinking that we'll retrace some of the news candle, maybe short squeeze up before continuing back down. I definitely see that as a possibility. I could see either, honestly. So, gonna be patient and see how it goes. Good morning, David. Yeah, if we shoot back up above that news candle and then reclaim this 960, 970 level as support, we're all wrong. Shez, is this your first time looking at the charts since the PPI release? I like your reaction. You say good morning and then just, oh wow. What happened? What did you guys do? Somebody broke the market. Who did it? Should have kept your limit order on. That, yeah. Don't give yourself a hard time about that. When you get into all the like shoulda, woulda, coulda stuff, you'll get yourself in trouble. Because then what if you had, and then the PPI news candle went the complete opposite direction? You would have been mad about that too. Good morning, Market Butcher. Yeah, we were talking about that in Discord last night. Like, looking in hindsight, like, oh, I should have kept my position open, or oh, I should have done this. You can get yourself in trouble if you, at least for me, like, it's very mentally exhausting if I put myself through that. You just gotta take what the market gives you and then remind yourself there's always another opportunity. That's what I keep telling myself in my head. Like if I'm ever sitting through where I'm not in a position and the market's just completely dumping or pumping, or, you know, one of those days where the degens are just market ordering in and making a ton of money, but I sit out because I'm trying to be patient and trying to like follow my plan. That's usually what's going through my head in those situations. reminding myself that there's always another opportunity. This was not a part of my plan. I'm being disciplined. Because it's true. There always is another opportunity. The market's open every day, and there's almost always going to be a trade that you can take. We got 3 minutes until the open. Let's see what we get. Min is guessing a weak open and then choppy the rest of the day. Sounds fun, I know, right? I'm hoping for a pullback at the open. If we come up to like 9:30ish and start to see a rejection, that might be a good opportunity to short. Short squeeze up. Let's go. Honestly, with this tiny little pump that we're getting right here, we might be on the verge of a short squeeze soon. We're getting close to where some of these stop orders might be. Might be happening. If we break above this wick at 869, that might be where some of those stop orders are, and it just shoots back up. We'll find out here in a minute. There she goes. Stop hunts deployed. Is that going to be it though, or is it going to continue up? Good morning, Shane. Man, this is a choppy open. Let's see how it reacts at this 900 level. If it continues higher, I like this 930 level. This is very wicky though. I'm on the 5-minute time frame here, but if you zoom into the 1 minute, there's lots of up and down, back and forth. We are back above this CPI news candle anchored VWAP. So, I mean, if we hold above this, that's a good sign that we're going to retrace a good amount of it. I'm not saying we're going to the moon. But retracing most of it, we could come all the way back up to London high at 940-ish. Not really getting continuation either way. Pretty choppy. All right, let's put an anchored candle on the open at 8:30. And then let's see what our opening ranges are. So far, this is the 15-minute low. See how it reacts at this 930 level. We'll let this open settle a bit. I'm not convinced that today is going to be all bullish. This could totally just be a news candle retracement, stop hunt orders, all that stuff. So once the initial couple minutes of the open settles, then I think we'll actually figure out what's going on today. But we do have decent resistance here at 930-ish. That was yesterday's point of control and then also the overnight point of control. So possible spot for a pullback there. Or if it's going to retrace the entire news candle, which it doesn't have to, it would come up to like 950-ish. That was a decent bounce though. I hope this whole thing wasn't just a fake out and now we're going to the moon. I doubt that. That's not what I'm leaning towards. I mean, how crazy would that be? That'd be kind of ridiculous. This reversal hurts my heart. Why? Because you got stopped out at break even on your long and now it's doing what we thought it was going to do? Yeah. If that's why it breaks your heart, then I feel ya. On your hands for sure, yeah. I'd like to see what happens when we get up to the top of this news candle, like London high, Asia high. Even if it comes all the way back up to this 960 level, I would still be okay with taking a short, assuming it got some sort of like sellers showed up and all that. In my opinion, this could still just be a retracement of news, stop hunts, all that stuff. Even though it's a whole lot of up action, I don't know. I don't think it necessarily means we're going back to all-time highs. Lots of crazy stuff can happen in the first 15 minutes of the open. Lots of stuff to fake people out. Because seriously, how ridiculous would that be? Like, how many blown accounts would there be if this pumped all the way back up to Asia high and everyone's thinking that we're bullish today and they're all going long, and then it retraces back down and comes down to this like 770-ish level that I was thinking was the original support? That would be ridiculous. But I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. You have a short order at 917 and 944 and then a stop at 24. You're giving it a lot of room. $24 is a decent stop loss though. Because in my opinion, if it goes above 24, then we're all wrong and it's going to be bullish. I think, honestly, if it reclaims this 970 level, we're going up. Because that was resistance all day yesterday, today, and this high volume node that I have marked off. So if it comes back up here, comes down and reclaims this area, then I think we're going up. That's not the scenario that I'm leaning towards though. I'll be ready for it if it happens, but I'm leaning more towards 930 or even like 950, 960. Anything up here, if we start to see sellers, I'll be going for a short. We still got a couple more minutes for this 15-minute opening range to settle a little bit. And then in the meantime, maybe it'll hit a couple of our levels and we can see what kind of reaction we get. hold on. Well, that momentum to the upside has slowed a tiny bit, but still moving up. G-Man, you're back. You missed the short squeeze. Or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what's actually happening, but retracing that news candle. The 2-minute time frame is an interesting view. Kind of looks like it's slowing down a little bit, but we still have quite a few wicks on the downside. It's reclaiming yesterday's low and value area low. All right, so far, this is our 15-minute high. We still got about 1 more minute left. I'm still staying patient. It would be, so this 930 level that I was looking at from earlier, yesterday's point of control and then the overnight point of control, it's just outside of the 15-minute opening range high right now. And one of my favorite setups, maybe just because it's sneaky and it's a trap to a lot of traders, I like the 15-minute opening range fake outs. So if something like that happened where it looked like it was going to be a breakout of the 15-minute opening range and it retests that level and then it closes back within the range and we go all the way back down, that would be pretty cool. All right, so it is breaking outside of the 15-minute range. Let's see if we get that little scenario I was talking about. It did come up to that point of control, closing back within the range. All right, I'm taking a short. See if we get back down to the bottom of the range. Not risking a whole lot because I'll put my stop loss right above that wick high. So my thought process was the 15-minute range is closed. It kind of wicked out a little bit and rejected that point of control. Nope, It's going to continue higher. Alrighty. So breaking out. Still kind of stuck at that point of control level. I'm not going to try the same idea again though. If this thing is going to just be a pump and dump kind of scenario, the only other level that's really going to stop us is this 960, 970-ish level. So I'm going to watch and see how it reacts up here if it gets up there. Could be a decent opportunity for a liquidity sweep and then move back down. We also have the top of this news candle around 950-ish. Volume is slowing a bit, or momentum, I guess, is slowing, and I mean volume's going down too, but momentum at this level is slowing. Continuing the move higher. Well, like I said, if it reclaims this, like if it breaks above the news candle, breaks above Asia high, value area high, and like retests it, then we were all wrong. Min, you seeing this right? Was I in a trade at 4 a.m.? I was. I wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym. And every once in a while, I'll check the charts and see what's going on. So yeah, this one was at 4:30 when I entered. All right, well, we're pretty much at the top of that news candle, getting close to Asia high, high of the day, value area high, which is kind of the top range from yesterday. We'll see if this thing is gonna pull back. This is the area. If it goes higher, then my thoughts on today were totally wrong. G-Man, yeah, the orb would have been nice. Absolutely. I don't know if you saw it. You were looking at gold when I did it, but I actually took a short here. It was a small risk. I think I risked like 170 or something, which is kind of within my range. So took a small loss, but we had, I think it was this candle right here, the 8:44 Central Time 2-minute candle. It came up to that point of control level that I was watching. Holy crap. That definitely rejected that level. Was that the end of the move? That was interesting. I was saying that if this thing was going down, that was the spot to reject, right? What would be the risk on this right now if we took a trade? 20 points. All right, I'm going short. I'm going to put my stop loss up above Asia high. Let's go. Dang, you guys. That got heavy fast. $934.5 was my entry. So a little bit of a chase, but I mean, honestly, that was a big drop in a really short period of time. But that was part of my plan. My whole short thesis was going to be invalidated if it got above here, and it reached that level and just dropped. So we're in it to win it. I'm gonna move my stop loss here to break even in a bit. So I'm gonna trail out a little bit. I don't like that it's bouncing at VWAP. Come on, don't do that. So it bounced off of VWAP. It's getting back up to that 15-minute opening range high. Hopefully it rejects from there. It all happened so fast that I didn't set any like limit orders to scale out, but that would have been a spot that I would have scaled out right around 900. So if it comes back down there, I'll set my limit order. And then the next spot I would scale out would be previous day low at like 885. I'll take one off there. And then really after that, opening range low possibly. I don't know if I'll write it all the way down there though. I don't like that it's bouncing there. Come on, go back down. That was a big bounce off of VWAP. I don't even have the session VWAP turned on. Where are we at there? I'm trying to be patient and let this breathe a little bit. I was thinking shorts on the day. It rejected at the level I was watching. So hopefully this is just a little fake bounce off of VWAP and then we're going to continue lower. That's why I'm holding it. Let's see though. Is it going to continue lower? It's thinking about it. Let's go. Still chopping around that point of control level. Thinking about getting back below this 15-minute opening range high. Kind of stuck here for a second, figuring out what it wants to do. You guys hear my dog barking in the background? My dog has gotten very bossy lately. Like, he used to just go stand by the back door when he wanted to go out to the bathroom. Or like he would kind of just sit by his water bowl if he was ready for food or whatever. But lately he's been barking. Like, he's being very demanding. Like, it's time for dinner. Or like, let me outside. And his barks are so loud in the house because we have wood floors, so it just like echoes and it hurts my ears. Like, stop barking in the house. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is the kind of trade that makes you question if you're right or wrong. I still feel really strongly about that level, and it dropped really hard from that level. So I feel good about the short. But that bounce off of VWAP and the fact that we're still holding above that 15-minute opening range high and not continuing lower, that's what's making me question myself. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to let it ride it out. I'm going to ride it out. But it's making me sweat a little bit. Come on. Hopefully it's just trapping those longs. Like everyone else who got long on the bounce off of VWAP and then the reclaim of the opening range high. And then that whole move up at the New York Open. Hopefully everyone's thinking long and those people are getting trapped. And now my shorts are going to print money. Come on. Let's go. Bring it on down. We need one of those tweets. Yeah, something like, the US and China cannot come to a deal. We have 400% tariffs. That kind of tweet. That would make it dump. Let's go. All right, here's the deal. If all of y'all go hit the like button, then I'll probably hit profit in my shorts. That's the problem. That must be it. We got 40 of you watching and we only have 18 likes. We could get to at least 40 if everyone goes and hits that button. No, whatever. You guys can go do whatever you want. I'm just giving you a hard time. And I'm just distracting myself from this trade. Oh my goodness. Awesome. Pedro, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, I don't like this 2-minute time frame. Those little wicks on the underside of those candles, I don't like it. Still holding above that 15-minute opening range high. Hit the like button because your ducks depend on it. Oh. All right, you've already trapped everyone long. Now you can just dump it. Just get it over with. I know you want to. That's what I'm talking about. Gold was beautiful. G-Man said that he was in a gold trade on his paper trading account. This 5-minute time frame looks choppy. We got about 20 minutes until the initial balance is set. So it'll be interesting to see if that wick up there actually is the initial balance high. The thing that would have me worried about that, honestly, is NASDAQ likes to come up and grab liquidity. And this wick up here didn't quite come up to the Asia high. So if by chance this right here at 960 is the initial balance high, it could definitely come back up to retest the initial balance and grab that overnight liquidity at 965. So we're not out of the woods yet on this thing just like dumping down to range lows again. Still feel good about my short. We are getting back below 15-minute opening range high, but we continue to bounce off of this anchored VWAP. We got to get below that for me to feel a little bit better about this whole thing. All right, I'm going to delete my little red circle. I'll draw our initial balance high. As of now, that could change in the next 20 minutes. Oh my goodness. Decide what you want to do. It keeps kind of chopping around VWAP. It's having to fight at this level, but maybe just because I'm in a short and I think it's going to go lower. The fact that it's fighting with that anchored VWAP, it looks like it wants to continue lower. Gold is dumping. Well, that's interesting. Because I want NQ to dump. And they're supposed to do the opposite. All right. How are we doing on this VWAP? Come on. Where are we at on the session VWAP? We're still above that too. Still bouncing at VWAP, both of them. So I do have plans to scale out of this if it ever continues. Overall, I feel like this thing is going to continue lower. But the fact that we never actually grabbed that Asia high fully makes me think that there is a possible scenario where it'll come back up to initial balance high, retest it, grab that liquidity, and then dump lower for the rest of the day. That's why I'm going to be aggressive here with taking profits. Min called the choppy PA. Yeah. Yes, indeed. It's also kind of fighting with a bit of a key level. Like sitting at VWAP, sitting at point of control. If it moves away, like if it breaks below VWAP and then moves away from point of control, I could see it possibly starting to move faster. But this is kind of in a spot where there's lots of a big battle going on. Buyers and sellers are trying to decide who has control at this point. $800 subs by the next duck race. Oh man, if I get to 800, then maybe we'll have to do a little giveaway celebration. That'd be fun. You believe it's in the cards. Heck yeah, it's in the cards. I'm close, right? I'm at like 790, something like that. All right, out of the 39 people watching, have all of you subscribed? Might be able to get a couple more. That'd be fun. 800 would be a fun milestone. We will get you there. I love it. I love the support. There's definitely 10 people in here that haven't subscribed. Come on. So last time I was really close to a certain level with subscribers. I don't know, it was like 600 or 700 or something. I was like 2 or 3 away. And we had people that were like logging into their kids' YouTube account and subscribing and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty funny. We got there though. You guys got me there. It was awesome. G-Man, you didn't miss much while you were gone. Just choppiness. I'm letting it play out though. Hasn't been any new information that makes me think that this thing is going to turn around and go to the moon and make new highs. I don't like sitting through it though. It's stuck at this VWAP level. But it's also continuing to reject this point of control and the 15-minute opening range high. I don't love that it's not getting below VWAP. It's holding this level. I wonder if it is going to come back up and grab that Asia liquidity. That was kind of the scenario that I laid out to you guys. So now we're getting closer to that initial balance actually being set. So it could come back up here, grab that Asia high liquidity, and then reject from there. It's not what I was hoping for. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close my trade early and not let it hit full stop loss, because that was a big buy up. And scenario B that I didn't want to happen kind of looks like that's going to play out. Come back up to initial balance high, grab that liquidity, and then if it's going to reject, that's when it'll happen. Or if it reclaims that level and then we get a trend continuation, then my short bias that I've had all day was totally wrong. Either way, I'm getting out of the trade. That did not go to plan, you guys. Not according to plan. Oh, there you go, Sasmit. You stayed out of it. Good for you. I actually considered moving my stop loss to break even once I got like 25 points into profit. Probably should have done that, because then at least I would have gotten out for $0 loss. But that's all right. Hindsight's 20/20. Now we'll see if scenario B actually happens. Watch for that failed auction. Grab this Asia high liquidity right here at 964. And it was also right here. And then reject. Close back within the initial balance. Gonna stay patient, see if it sets up. G-Man, you're talking about gold? Did you anchor it at the gold session open, New York open? So 8:20 a.m. Eastern, or at the 9:30 a.m. like NQ open. Oh, 9:30. Interesting. I haven't tested that, but I've always heard that gold opens at 8:20. So for now, you guys, I'm just sitting patient. I took this loss here. I exited early. I didn't let it go all the way back up to my stop loss, so that's why I'm out of it now. But got pretty good into profit, and then it retraced. So got out for about an 11-point loss. My thought at this point, and what I'm waiting for, if it's going to happen, is come back up to retest the initial balance high and possibly grab some of this liquidity before continuing lower. Or if it breaks out and continues the trend, then I was wrong and I'll probably stop trading for the day. Because I know at that point, if it like breaks out and just squeezes up, not only will I have been wrong, but I'll probably feel pretty frustrated and annoyed. And I would not be in any condition to be trading. Don't tell you what now, that gold opens at 8:20 Eastern instead of 9:30. Yep. I posted it in Discord. There's a start time sheet, a cheat sheet for all that stuff, because not everything opens at the same time. All right, this choppy PA is gonna put everyone to sleep, huh? Is that the plan for today? Let me draw our current session volume profile, see what we got going on. See if any levels are lining up. So our current session point of control, everything is so lined up. If you guys care about that kind of stuff, looking at, let me zoom out a little bit. The overnight session point of control is right here at this white line at 9:32. Yesterday's New York session point of control is at 9:30. And then our current session point of control is forming right here at 9:30. So 9:30 and 9:32. That's where everything's kind of lining up right now. And price is holding above that, like well above it. It's bouncing from there. So more and more I'm wondering, it's making me wonder if shorts are not the play today. If it's holding above that fair value price, above VWAP, just above everything. I could be wrong. So the last line in the sand for me is this initial balance high. So if it comes up here, grabs that liquidity, closes back below, I'll continue with my short thesis. If it breaks out and then this trend just continues, I was wrong and I'm done. So let's see what it does up here at this 960 level. And then we shall know what to do. It's working its way back up to initial balance high. It's gonna take a year to get there. I could have gone and grabbed my coffee by this time. You folded 2 low probability trades and it turned out to be a good decision. That is a great trading day, Sasmit. Absolutely. Very great. Good for you. All right, chat, what's it gonna be? The green lines or the yellow lines? Is this gonna be a liquidity grab and then move lower? Or are we just going bullish on the day? The PPI news is over with, and now we're going to the moon. What's it gonna be? What's your vote? Yellow or green? Tell me in the chat, yellow or green? Pedro thinks green. Neil says yellow. Shez says green. Shane, what does moon green mean? To me, moon means like up, but green is down. What are you talking about? I'm so lost. B Frosty says in the middle. B Frosty chose the orange line. Everyone's wrong. It's not going to be green or yellow. It's just going to be, here, I'll draw it. It's going to be, oh, hold on. I grabbed the wrong tool. This is B Frosty's choice. Just up. I'll make that orange. I didn't draw that option. Is that what we're going to get? Oh, man, you guys. If this closes back within the initial balance, this could possibly still be a liquidity grab and move lower. But for me to feel like that's a valid plan, it needs to start rejecting here. If it goes much higher, then I was wrong. And I will sign off and say, sorry guys, my prediction was wrong, and I'm okay with that. Oh, I didn't even think about that, Travis. I should have made it red. All right, let me fix this. My bad. Green is supposed to be up. And then here we go. I'll do this. Is that better? Now you guys are less confused. Now I understand the confusion. You guys were having to put green in the chat, but green meant down, and that's wrong. It was messing with your head. I fixed it. I fixed it. Yeah, you guys, this does not really look like a liquidity grab that's going lower. No. Liquidity grabs, from what I see, are like, we would see wicks. Like it quickly grabs Asia high and then there's a wick down. I'm just going to keep drawing lines. Because apparently I'm not entering a trade right now. Jeez. My goodness. At least I have good company. Those of you guys who were on the stream earlier at like the CPI pump retracement that we were getting, when was it? It was somewhere over here. It was before the 9:30 open. It was at like 9:15 or whatever. We were just kind of chatting about like, what's it gonna be? And everyone thought we were just gonna retrace the news candle and then dump. We were all wrong. All right, so far it's coming back down to initial balance high, but it's not closing below. This kind of possibly looks like a retrace and then trend continuation. It looks like the green option might win. I'm entering along to 24K because that's the next resistance that I was seeing. 972. Stop loss won't have to be very low because it'll be at the initial balance basically. And we'll see. Let's see if it holds up here. Let's do a Krista art auction in the channel. Would anyone even pay for that? Oh my gosh. All right, looking at the higher time frame, where are we headed? There is not much more resistance overhead, you guys. This momentum is slowing down. It definitely still could reject from here, but this level at like 23,970-ish, that was kind of the only resistance left. So it's certainly possible that this could be a fake out and then come back lower. But dang, look at that V-shaped recovery. I gotta stop trying to understand price. You know? Like that PPI candle, it just doesn't make sense. I gotta stop trying to make sense of it. Did everybody just forget all of that bad news and now we're just going back to all-time highs? Like, what the heck? This is wild, you guys. Let's see how far this moves up. So my reasoning for taking that trade was obviously the bullish move up, getting back above that Asia high, not really looking like a liquidity sweep. And then it came back down to almost to initial balance low and then bounced off of it. So this is a initial balance trend continuation trade. The green line wins. So I'll erase my drawings. Sorry, Be Frosty, I'm gonna erase my drawings. Hope that doesn't make you too sad. We do have some resistance right around the 24,000 level, 23,990-ish. You can see that small bit of high volume right there. And then looking left, there's quite a bit of resistance there. It was support. So I'll set some there. That might have been the extent of the move, though. Let's see if this holds. That momentum is slowing, that's for sure. We are starting to get into that later point of the day to where volume slows. These are, this is a funded account. So I have a sim funded account with Top One Futures. And I trade that one with you guys on stream. This one is a trade day account to where there is an eval that you have to pass. And then once you pass the eval, it's daily payouts. There's no consistency rule or anything like that. No minimums, just daily payouts. So that's the account that I have up right now. All right, Be Frosty, have a good one. Take care. Oh my gosh. This is not continuing. Shez, do I take the daily payout or build it? So to be transparent with you guys, on this account, I've passed the eval, but I've kind of been stuck in the buffer phase. Like I'll be up 800 and then I'll be down 500 and just kind of back and forth. I've been like running in place with this account. You can actually see my balance up here. I was like right back to my starting point at 50K. So I'm still in the stage where you have to build a $2,000 buffer and then you can start taking daily payouts from there, which is smart. Like you want to have a buffer, but I haven't taken daily payouts yet. Once I do though, I will probably leave a buffer, and it depends on how I trade. Like if I have a great day and I make like $1,000 or something, then I might take out half of that and leave the rest as a buffer. Or if I have a day where I only make like $200, then I'll leave it and wait until I have a bigger amount. Because my goal is definitely to keep the account as long as possible. Like I don't want to just qualify for a little payout and then take it all out and blow the account. That's not my goal. I would like to leave some sort of buffer, but I also want to take a payout too. Because obviously it'd be nice to actually pull money out of the market, but it helps increase confidence, you know? And I've been in a little bit of a slump for the last month. I don't think I've taken a payout for the last 4 weeks or something like that. So pulling anything out would definitely increase confidence. Trade day, G-Man. That's the account that I have with you guys open right now. Well, if it doesn't stop at around 24,000, which is this choppy kind of resistance here, we could be going back up to all-time highs. I'm just shaking my head about today and how completely wrong I was and how much it just does not make sense to me. Like, how can you just completely dump 200 points in like 5 minutes and then retrace the entire move with almost no pullbacks and return to all-time highs? Like, please, someone in the chat, tell me how this makes sense. All right, we're sitting at 24K, which was that little high volume node that I shouldn't even call it a high volume node. There's a little bit of a bump right there. We're at a spot where there's not a ton of resistance overhead. So this is kind of the last spot where if it doesn't pull back from here, then we're going back to the moon. The whole market seems to need a correction that hasn't come. Yeah. I'm trying to be careful with thinking that though. Like when I was looking at the higher time frame before the market opened and kind of saying that it looks like it's hanging off the edge of a cliff and like looks like it wants to come back down and establish a little bit more support. Yeah, I see the same thing in the charts. But we're also in the middle of a bull market where like everything is at all-time highs. Like stocks are through the roof. Bitcoin's keeps making all-time highs. Ethereum's really close to all-time highs. I mean, gold's going down, but that makes sense because if all the risk-on assets are going up, then gold is more of a safe asset. It would be going down. So I guess when you're in that kind of a season, the market's just going to keep continuing to go up and it's not going to retrace to some of those levels. The market is ignoring the fundamentals today, even with bad news regarding inflation. But what goes up must come down at some point. That's the problem with day trading though, is like, when, you know? Like I kind of thought that today was going to be a down day, but no. Is it going to be tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe it's not going to go down until next week. So you got to kind of be flexible, right? All right, I'm going to at least move my stop loss to break even in case it starts to pull back, because that 24K level is kind of where I was thinking we might hit a little bit of a resistance. And it's been up only all morning. So we might see a pullback, right? I don't know. I have no idea. This is just not making sense to me today. It's breaking all the rules. So coming back to my chart above initial balance high, which I would get stopped out before it comes back down to there. But if we do end up finding a top and there's heavy resistance at this 24K level, and then it comes down and closes back below initial balance high, that could possibly be a failed auction scenario. It just came up a whole lot higher than I was expecting before it dumped. So I'll be ready for that. But in the meantime, got my stop loss at break even. So at least I'll be able to finish green on this account. We'll see how it plays out though. got 793 subscribers. 7 more, and I'll be at 800. Woohoo! Let's go. That's fun. Nothing significant happens at 800. It's just cool to hit another milestone. Let me sign in on all my accounts. How many YouTube accounts do you have, Shane? What in the world? I've heard that from a couple people. Like, let me go log into my other account. Why do you guys need multiple YouTube accounts? Oh, I love it. Nick signed into his other account and subscribed too. I appreciate the support, you guys. That's awesome. All right. It looks like that might have been the extent of our run up. And now, let's see if we close back within the initial balance. So 24K was still a decent level. I mean, it's a psychological round number, so that makes sense. There was also a little bit of a high volume node there. The thing that I would have been completely wrong on is where we retraced to. I mean, honestly, I was wrong all along. Like, I was thinking maybe 9:30 it'll reject at point of control, and then maybe at the top of the news candle it'll reject at 9:50. Oh, but wait, maybe it'll come up to Asia high and reject. Nope, it was coming all the way back up to 24K. Jeez. All right, so it's sitting right at value area high, still above initial balance high. I want to take a short. That would be a 30-point stop loss. Which means a little bit more risk. 966 is where I entered. Coming back down to the New York anchored VWAP would make sense. That's also right around the 15-minute opening range high. And where is our current session point of control? Where is it? Too many lines. Current session point of control is right around last night's point of control. Yeah, it's actually in the exact same spot, which is also right at the anchored VWAP. So that target definitely makes a lot of sense, right around 930, 23,930. There we go. I'm going to scale out. I'll change my strategy based on, I shouldn't say change my strategy. My strategy is to take the failed auctions based on price action. So if it just starts to get heavy like this, then I'll leave a runner because it could possibly retrace to the initial balance low. But I'll definitely scale out and take some profits. Yeah, I agree, G-Man. I kind of chased it a little bit, which is actually why I put my stop loss at break even. Because I definitely entered like way after those candles, and I did not want to have my stop loss be all the way back up at 24K. So if I get stopped out at break even, okay, I'm fine with that. I'd prefer that over risking. So this might come back up. We are below the initial balance. So there's a possibility for adding to the position, but we'll see if it comes back up here and then starts to reject, because then we could move our stop loss down to 960. I know a couple of you guys were asking how I add to positions, so I'm not adding right now. But if it comes back up to initial balance and rejects, that's where I would add. So actually going to do it right now, because now I can move my stop loss to initial balance, since that was a spot where it's obviously rejecting for now. I mean, that could change. This is a 2-minute chart, so I'm zoomed in a lot. I realize that. But that's how I add to positions, and I only do it if I can keep my risk small. Like, if I get stopped out, I'm still green. No harm, no foul. But it increases my profit opportunity. VWAP is sitting around 934. So I'll move this up just a little bit to make sure if it's going to continue down, at least it'll grab part of my orders. Let's see, is it going to continue down? I don't necessarily think this is going to go all the way back down to range low, initial balance low. I could be totally wrong, but there is a lot in this area. We have the 15-minute initial balance high. We have point of control from yesterday, point of control from today, and New York anchored VWAP. So even if, I mean, later this afternoon, it could absolutely continue down, but this is a good spot to bounce and target for profits. Or I could just bounce from here. I feel like every position I've been in today has just taken forever to play out. Oh, I just saw that, Paul. Dang, you guys were fast. I was at 793 like 10 minutes ago. There must be 7 of you that have multiple YouTube accounts and you logged into your other account. Oh, I love it. Made it to 800. Let's go. Next on deck, 900. And then 1,000, baby. We're going to have a party when we hit 1,000. JVO, I'm new here. How long have you been trading? I'm a newbie. I have been trading since September of 2024. That's when I got my first prop account, joined Discord, started to stock different groups and figure out my strategy and all that. I shouldn't say that's when I was figuring out my strategy. I started watching videos before then and kind of just learning what is trading and what is the initial balance and how do you find support and resistance. I watched hundreds and hundreds of videos, and I still do, honestly. But September of 2024 was when I started my first prop firm account. And I label that as when I officially started trading. Because before that, I was doing paper trading, but that's not real, in my opinion. I didn't really learn much with paper trading other than how to do contract sizing and how to click the buy and the sell and insert stop losses and all that stuff. But real trading with emotion attached, September 2024. So almost a year now. All right, let's do this, you guys. Let's get 1,000 subscribers by the time my 1-year trading anniversary happens in September 2024 and 25, 1 year. And we'll have a giant party. I'll go send emails and beg for a bunch of giveaway accounts from all of these firms that I trade with. And we'll have a party. I'll give away a bunch of accounts. You guys can tell all your trader friends to come watch. 1,000 subscribers, 1-year anniversary party. Let's go. That would be fun. Shez, we're in a short party right now. It's not one to go down though. I'm a little bit annoyed with price action right now. I just feel like there's no continuation. We had this giant dump, so we're it's going all the way back down to range low. And now it's not even making it to VWAP. It's just chopping around right here. And I even moved my target up a little bit so that it doesn't even have to go all the way down to VWAP to grab it. Because anchored VWAP right now is at 934. I have my target at 936. You know you wanna. Come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. I can't say come on down without thinking of that. There's got to be someone else here that is with me on that, yeah? Do you guys ever look back, like if you had your favorite TV show or like your favorite movie when you were a kid, you're like, I watched that movie or that TV show like all the time. And then you watch it again as an adult, like 10 years later, and you're like, oh my gosh, like how was this entertaining? This is so cheesy. Do you ever have that feeling? I feel that way with Price is Right. Like that was my favorite show. I watched it every single day. And I was good at it too. Like I was convinced that if I went on that show, I would totally win because I got a lot of it right. But you know, it's easier when you're sitting in your living room versus in front of a whole studio audience. So I get that. But that was my favorite show. And now when I watch it, I'm like, oh, this is painfully annoying. It's such a terrible show. Okay, we got another Price is Right fan in the chat. Leave It to Beaver and Price is Right. I never watched Leave It to Beaver. The TV shows I watched were Full House and Seventh Heaven. I think those were back to back because I used to be allowed to watch like 1 hour of TV before I had to go outside and play or do my homework or whatever. Like that was what I was allowed to do when I came home from school. And I think those were the two shows, if I remember right. Like one was at 3 p.m. and one was at 3:30 or something like that. Full House and Seventh Heaven. All right, so it's coming down to VWAP. Looks like it's breaking below VWAP. Well, kind of bouncing a little bit. My next target I have at 9:30, which is right at point of control from yesterday and today, actually. So I felt like that was a decent target. And then I'll just leave a runner from there until my max daily profit in this account is hit. I have it set to lock out at 900. Dukes of Hazzard, I never watched that one. I messed up a little bit and had this next TP too low. 930 was where point of control was, and it looks like that's where it's bouncing. It's holding above that VWAP, you guys. So far, it looks like it might be going back up. I'm going to let it play out though, because I can already feel, I've been trading and streaming since like 7 a.m. Central, so it's been about 3 hours. I can just feel my like mental focus starting to get drained. So I'm going to be okay with whatever happens on this position. If it hits my stop loss, I'll be done. But I could definitely see this being a possible spot for a bounce. I don't want to flip long though, because I feel like to me that would make me feel like I'm getting a little bit tilted and like switching back and forth. Because I already went long off the initial balance when I was thinking short all day. And that was a little bit of a counter move mentally. So now that I'm in a short and it's actually following my original thesis, I feel better about it. So I'm going to stick with it and be done if it stops me out. Ain't no way. Are you even profitable? Why all caps? You sound like you're yelling at me. Why are you yelling? but yes, I am. If you follow me on my channel, I'm very transparent about the fact that I'm a beginner. I'm not the best trader. I still go on tilt. I still have bad days. I still pay out than I have put in for purchasing challenges and stuff. So yeah, profitable. Not where I want to be. Definitely working on being more consistent with my like emotional side of things and not letting myself tilt and do stupid things to blow my accounts. So being consistent there. And then also I want to be more consistent with like taking regular payouts, like at least one a month, if not two a month. So I can rely on this as like a good income. That's my goal. That's what I'm working towards. Okay. I was just giving you a hard time. But I've never seen you in the chat before. And then all of a sudden you came in and you're yelling at me. Are you even profitable? All right. It is bouncing right at that point of control, VWAP, 15-minute opening range. That's where I deleted my red circle, but that's kind of where I was thinking it would bounce. So that's why I grabbed some profits. I scaled out at VWAP and then at point of control, and now it's gonna, the last runners that I had for a possible continuation, stopping me out. But that would have been a good spot to enter long. G-Man, are you still in the chat? I'm curious. You were talking about, yeah, you took profit. Okay. Did you enter long though? Yes, that's what I was going to ask. There you go. Good trade, man. So if you entered at VWAP, like somewhere around this level at like 935-ish, and now your stop loss is at 927, I'm not in this trade, you guys, but let's say you're somewhere around here, and then even if you just target like back to the range high, the initial balance high, that's a great risk to reward. Good little scout. Oh, you're not targeting the initial balance high. You're going for the moon, a new high of day. There you go. All right, you guys. I'm going to be done for today. I finished my trade day accounts up 537. And then I have my top one futures funded accounts over here finished up 897. So decent day. Gonna wrap it up though, because I can definitely feel myself getting a little bit frustrated with how the market did not do what I thought it was gonna do. But you guys, if you're gonna trade, keep trading safe. Have a good one. Take care, you guys.